What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. I know I already made a post about this, but I haven't had the chance to truly thank all of you, everyone who is subscribed to this channel. We officially hit 3,000 subscribers a couple of days ago, and that is absolutely insane. I never actually thought we would get anywhere close to this, and the fact that we have been able to build such a fantastic community together has been mind-boggling to me. This community means everything to me, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting us to 3,000. Anyways, the last week on this channel has been pretty busy. We had our first legitimate free agent signing. We had one of our first trades of the offseason for the Red Sox, and whether or not you like those moves or not, they were something to talk about. Unfortunately, the same may not be able to be said for this week in particular, mostly because it's the week in between Thanksgiving and winter meetings. Historically, not a ton of stuff happens during this week in terms of transactions, so there may be a little bit of a lull in MLB talk, but that means it's the perfect time to start up a new series on this channel where I try and predict the entirety of this Red Sox roster going into 2023. And we're going to start today with this starting pitching rotation, which may be genuinely the biggest question mark going into this 2023 season, and is going to be one that's really tricky to figure out. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Now, it's more than likely that you're probably going to disagree with what I think the Red Sox rotation is going to look come opening day 2023, and that's perfectly fine. I would love for you guys to disagree with me, actually. So if you do, let me know in the comments down below what your ideal pitching rotation for the Red Sox going into 2023 is going to look like. Anyways, let's start this off with the guys who are definitely going to be in this rotation, the guys who have already kind of stamped their way into this rotation, starting with Chris Sale. Now, if Chris Sale stays fully healthy, it is very obvious that he will be a starting pitcher in this rotation for the Boston Red Sox. Am I fully confident that he stays healthy for an entire offseason? I'm not. But if he does, just because I love the guy, I would love to see a redemption/comeback tour for Chris Sale. I think he is capable of that, but it all depends on health. So if Chris Sale stays healthy, he will definitely be in this rotation. Another guy that definitely should be in this rotation is Brayan Bello. Now, the Red Sox, to my understanding, have yet to confirm that he will definitely be in the 2023 rotation, but it's a no-brainer for him not to be. He did start a little bit rocky in the majors this year, but by the end of the year, man, he was lights out. I would love to see what this kid could do with an entire season under his belt, going into a season fully preparing for major league hitters. I think this kid is something special and going to be really, really great at the major league level. So it makes no sense for him not to be in that starting rotation come 2023. So for me, Brayan Bello is a surefire in to be in this rotation, but it has yet to be confirmed. Garrett Whitlock is the last guy I think is a surefire. Yes, he's going to be in the rotation, mostly because the Red Sox have already confirmed that this offseason. They told the media that he will be in this rotation, and to be honest with you, I'm fairly excited for it. Garrett Whitlock had a really small sample size with only 9 games, but for the most part, he was really, really great out there. The Red Sox just couldn't score any runs when he was pitching. Now, he did have a little bit of a higher ERA, but again, it was only 9 games, and he was injured for over half of them, so there is that to factor in as well. I think given the time and the preparation, he can be a fantastic major league pitcher. Again, regardless of what I think, regardless of what you guys think, he is definitely going to be in that rotation. But that's really it for the guys who I think are shoo-ins to be in this rotation. So let's talk about the guys who I think have the chance to be in that rotation and probably will be in the rotation, but there's some question marks surrounding them. The first guy I'm not 100% confident will be in this starting rotation is James Paxton. James Paxton hasn't pitched the major league level in a while, and there are a ton of question marks that come with that. Can he stay healthy? Will he actually be effective for being out of the game for so long? And I just don't see the Red Sox fully relying on James Paxton to be an everyday starter throughout the entire year, enough to put him in the everyday rotation. The other reason I'm not 100% positive on James Paxton being in this rotation is because of the fact that I have to imagine the Red Sox are shopping him around a little bit to see if he can sweeten the deal on a trade. A major league ready pitcher who does have a lot of upside, doesn't cost a lot, and will be easily movable is something that I would assume the Red Sox have taken into account. Plus, they denied his player option, so I don't really know how much the front office wants him here, but that is something to keep in mind as well. Again, there is upside to James Paxton too. He could come back and be really, really good, but either way, I'm not 100% positive he will be on this team come opening day 2023. 2023, and I'm not 100% positive they will put him in a starting role. The second guy I'm not 100% positive on is Nick Pivetta. Now, Nick Pivetta does have a lot of value, especially for this 2022 team. He didn't have the greatest statistics in the world, but he did start over 30 games. He was the only pitcher on the roster to start over 30 games, and there's a ton of value in that, especially when you're looking at our rotation currently. A guy in the back of it who you know is going to be there every 5-6 days is something that is super important. But at the same time too, the Red Sox do want to make some additions to this starting rotation. We've seen them rumored to be in contact with a lot of starting pitchers, so it feels like they're trying to bring someone in from the outside, and that means creating room. And to me, it would be kind of stupid not to at least take a look at what the value on the market in terms of trades are for Nick Pivetta. So again, another guy who I would love to see on this team in 2023, but another guy that I could very easily see shipping out in a trade before the season starts. So those are the two guys that are currently on this team, but I'm not 100% positive will be in the rotation come 2023. Let's talk about the guys who I think the Red Sox are going to add. I do think there will be additions to this Red Sox rotation, and I think those additions will be two players. Now, I put additions in quotes because I think one of those players won't be so much an addition as they are bringing someone back, and that guy is Nate Eovaldi. Now, Nate Eovaldi did have a rough 2022 season, but I could see the Red Sox, and I do see the Red Sox bringing him back on a 2-3 year deal worth about $15 to $17 million. Now, the reason I think it'll be Nate Eovaldi over Michael Wacha, I think the bidding war for Michael Wacha will be a little bit bigger than what it will be for Nate Eovaldi, and we'll get to that in a second. But specifically for Michael Wacha, I just don't see the Red Sox wanting to bring this guy back on a long-term deal. It doesn't seem like he's built for long-term sustainable success, and that probably scares the Red Sox a little bit. As for Nate Eovaldi, though, there are a couple question marks surrounding him that make his market a little bit smaller. Obviously, we already talked about the injuries he sustained in 2022, but because of those injuries as well, there's question marks on whether or not his velo can come back up. He was getting hit with the home run bug uncharacteristically in 2022, so there are question marks regarding his play. But also, because the Red Sox placed a qualifying offer on Nate Eovaldi, teams may be less inclined to go after him because they know they're going to lose a draft pick and compensation. It's not going to be a ton because the Red Sox were over the luxury tax, but if you're looking at whether or not to sign Chris Bassett per se or Nate Eovaldi, I could see a lot of teams going the route of Chris Bassett, and for that reason, I think the Red Sox have a pretty decent chance at bringing him back. There's not going to be a ton of competition, and the fact that the Red Sox have already stated that they are trying to bring Nate Eovaldi back and bring him back onto this team on a multi-year deal leads me to believe that there is something there with Nate Eovaldi. In terms of whether or not he can get his velo back, I don't believe the Red Sox would truly make this much effort to publicly say they are trying to bring him back without them thinking that there is at least a pretty decent chance that he will get back to the Nate Eovaldi we know and love. The second guy I think the Red Sox will bring to this team from outside the organization is Senga. Now, Senga is going to be a little bit difficult to get to this Red Sox team. It's going to be a bit of an uphill climb. One, because no one who plays in Japan is going to love the commute every year to play the entire season in Boston. That's a really long plane ride. You're really far away from your family, and obviously teams on the West Coast are going to be more appealing to a player like Senga because of that distance. But the other reason too is because there's a lot of teams interested in Senga. The Cubs have Seiya Suzuki, and Senga and Suzuki are friends. He's always admired Shohei Ohtani, so maybe somewhere in the West Coast he's eyeing more too. So it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle to get him here, but at the end of the day, money talks, and I think the Red Sox truly put it on the table to try and get Senga here. And the reason for that is because it is kind of the perfect opportunity to bring in someone with a ton of potential. It was rumored and confirmed that the Red Sox really aren't paying attention to a lot of the top tier starting pitchers that are available on the free agent market. Senga is just one step down from those guys and has the ability to be in that top tier caliber type player. So the Red Sox, in my mind, are going to take a chance on Senga, bring him here, put him in this rotation, maybe ease him in with inning limits and stuff like that to see if there is something there. Plus, he's going to be probably half the cost of any of these top tier guys, again, with that potential to be a top tier type player. In my opinion, over this offseason, we will see two people join this rotation from outside the organization, Nate Eovaldi and Senga. Let's take a look at what I think the true 2023 starting rotation roster is going to look like with the additions of Nate Eovaldi and Senga. With the additions of both of those players, I think the rotation will look like this. Starting in the first position, we're going to go with Nate Eovaldi. I think they do put him in that one spot. He's been proven to be a workhorse for this team in the past, and I think if they bring him back, they'll put him towards the top of this rotation. I think in the second spot, you're either going with Senga or Sale. For me, I'm going to go Senga. Chris Sale's a little bit less reliable, and yes, Senga's a question mark, but he is more than likely going to be healthy at the beginning of the season. That's why I'm putting him at 2, which puts Chris Sale in that third spot, the middle of the rotation. If he does perform like we know he can perform and stay healthy, obviously I'm sure he will make his way to the top of the rotation at some point, but for now, opening day, we're going to put him in the 3 spot. I'm going to put Garrett Whitlock in the 4 spot because I think, again, Garrett Whitlock's going to be able to adjust to starting in the major leagues, and I think he will end up being a really good pitcher, so we're going to put him in the 4 spot. We're going to put Brian Bayo in the 5th spot. Again, this is a guy who, no brainer, pretty much needs to be in this rotation. One more twist here. I think the Red Sox are going to go with the 6-man rotation instead of a 5-man rotation. If you take a look at what this rotation is currently, there are a lot of players in here who, for some reason or another, will probably have an innings limit on their year. Adding the 6th man to this rotation makes a lot of sense for 2023. You're able to manage innings a lot better, and these guys can go deeper into games and pitch further into the season with hopefully less injuries. So who's that 6th man gonna be? It's going to be Nick Pivetta. This rotation isn't exactly the star-studded rotation that I think some of us were hoping for going into 2023, but the potential with this rotation, if they go with this into 2023, is insane, right? If you can limit the ability to get injured, it may make it even better. And I would be pretty excited if this is what we were going for if this is what we're going into 2023 with. Now, you may notice there is no James Paxton, and it's not because I think the Red Sox will trade him. It's because I think the Red Sox will start his career with the Red Sox in 2023 in that bullpen. I think they will use him as sort of a long relief, middle relief type player just to stretch him out and make sure he is good to go before maybe swapping him and Pivetta or something like that. So I do think they hold on to James Paxton, but I think he starts the year in the bullpen. And that's my 2023 predictions for the Red Sox rotation. Let me know in the comment section down below, what part of this are you disagreeing with? Do you not like the additions? Do you not like the subtractions? Do you not like the whole thing? What would you do if you were the manager of this Red Sox team? How would you construct your rotation? Let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, if you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end of this video, you might as well hit that sub button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all one more time for 3,000 subscribers. Again, I can't thank you enough. The community that we build here is beyond my wildest imaginations, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seat.